This is the Left Hook Boxing Show, and what a great night of fights we had last night. Now, you had to make a choice on which up-and-coming fighter you wanted to watch. Was it going to be Juan Manuel Lopez, or was it going to be Victor Ortiz? I chose Victor Ortiz because he was fighting on HBO, and I subscribed to HBO, so the fight was free to me, and I didn't want to shell out the $40. But I think I made the right decision because the fight with Juan Manuel Lopez, from everything I've read, was a one-sided affair. So the one with Victor Ortiz and Marcos Maidana was a brief fight, only went 6 rounds, but it was action-packed. And the up-and-coming Victor Ortiz met a bump in the road in the name of Marcos Maidana. Now, picking up the action in round 1, these guys came out to fight. The jab was not in either fighter's arsenal. They were letting their hands go from the onset. And Victor Ortiz got things started with a quick right hand to Maidana that dropped him. It was more of a flash knockdown. He wasn't hurt seemingly that bad. And he got up, and a very short time later, he came in and hit Ortiz on the button with a long, he reared back and came in, boom, hit Ortiz right on the button, and Ortiz ended up on his back. It looked like, for a moment there, Ortiz was in some serious trouble, and he admitted after the fight that he was hurt. And he was having to grab a little bit, doing a little clutching to kind of get his composure back and get himself through the round, which he was able to do. And you're thinking that after that, maybe Ortiz is going to box a little bit, but no way. He went after Maidana with a ferocity. And he was able to score 2 knockdowns when these exchanges were going on. And like I say, there was no jabbing going on. These guys were just in there exchanging blows. And when you do that, of course, you leave yourself open to counter-punch opportunities. And Ortiz got the best of that round with 2 right hands that dropped Maidana. And Maidana himself looked to be in trouble there towards the end of the second round. The last knockdown came towards the end of the second round, and it looked like, you look at his face, he was kind of shaking his head a little bit, and there was some question as to whether or not he was going to continue. He looked like he had pretty much was going to hang it up there, but he continued. He went to the bench, kind of regrouped, and went back out there, showed his heart, and went back out there in the 3rd and 4th round. Now, 3rd and 4th round, there's still a lot of this exchanges, but it looked like Ortiz was getting the better of Maidana. He was the more accurate puncher. In the CompuBox numbers after the fight, he scored on like 43% of his punches, I believe. He wasn't as busy as Maidana, but still accurate puncher and was winning the rounds. And on the scorecards, he was up. But then came the 5th round. And Ortiz had Maidana into the corner and was slugging away, just slugging away, smelling blood, feeling like, hey, I want to get the knockdown in front of the home crowd. The crowd was chanting his name, Ortiz, Ortiz. And after the fight, he said he'd never really been in a situation like that where people were cheering for him like that. And he kind of lost his head a little bit, went away from his strategy, and was going for the knockout. And it cost him. After round 2, after he'd gotten the 2 knockdowns, Oscar De La Hoya could be seen saying, hey, Victor, be smart, fight smart. Don't go out and go crazy. But he didn't listen, and in the 5th round, he was thinking he had the knockout, or eventually was going to get the knockout, started swinging the hands, and you knew it had to come in somewhere. This was the night of the right hand, no doubt about it. It did most of the damage, but you can always bank on the left hook coming out somewhere during the fight, and it did at this moment when Ortiz had Maidana in the corner. Maidana comes in with that left hook, and I believe it was a turning point of the fight because it hit him on the eye and caused the cut. And Ortiz in his previous fights has pretty much, with the exception of the loss and the draw, dominated his opponents pretty much, wins a lot of fights in the early rounds with powerful punches, powerful knockouts. But this punch by Maidana caused the cut, and there comes the adversity. and it's really how is Ortiz going to respond to it, and he didn't respond too well. He was hurt there. The round continued on. Maidana got Ortiz up against the ropes and then came in with the right hand. The thunderous right hand hit Ortiz on the other eye and caused this golf ball swelling on his eye. Ortiz was in trouble, no doubt at this moment, turning point of the fight, and he goes to his bench, and his trainer saying, "What's going on, Victor? You're not listening. Keep your hands up. I'm going to stop this fight. I'm going to stop this fight if you don't listen to me." Because he was keeping his hand, he was going in there, and he wasn't keeping his guard up, and he was getting hit, and his trainer was concerned for him. He was talking about stopping the fight. He didn't. The fight went on to the 6th round, but Maidana at this point was smelling blood, got Ortiz again in the corner, and started pummeling, hit him in the face, and hit the body shot. Ortiz dropped to his knees. He got up pretty quickly, but he was shaking his head, and you knew at that moment he was done. And the referee wanted to stop the fight too. He saw Ortiz's eye, one cut, one swollen, and he stops it and says, "Hey, let's go over and talk to the doctor." And when they talked to the doctor says, "Hey, let's stop this thing," and they did. Of course, if Ortiz would have protested like Cotto did, said, "Hey, I want to keep this fight going," then perhaps the doctor would have allowed it to continue. But it was the right thing to do. I know that Max Kellerman kind of beat up on Ortiz a little bit, saying, "Hey, we expect out of our fighters that they go in there and they battle through adversity like this." And he mentioned Joe Frazier, how Joe Frazier had a fight where he got knocked down 2 times by a fighter, and he got back up and went on to win that fight. But hey, look at Joe Frazier now. He's suffering the effects, much like Muhammad Ali is, for hanging in there too long in some of these fights. So I have no problem with Ortiz stopping the fight at that point. He was in trouble. If he would have continued, I'm telling you, it would have been over. Maidana would have knocked him out. Ortiz had lost his will to fight at that point, and he was hitting him with this right hand. And this guy had a powerful right hand. So he did the right thing. I think he's going to learn some lessons for this. I think Ortiz could have won this fight, like a lot of people were saying, like Emmanuel Stewart was saying, if he would have boxed a little better. But he didn't. But sometimes you listen to a trainer, and you don't really listen to them until you realize in the ring that what they're telling you is the truth. And Ortiz had to learn a lesson a hard way, much like all of us do in life at some point. And I think he's going to learn a lesson the hard way, and hopefully he'll develop a little bit his skills and come back and be that fighter that we all think he can be. But I think it was no doubt the right decision. This guy, Ortiz fought. He fought with heart, but he was done. There comes a moment in a fight when you know that you're done, and he realized he was done at this moment. So I salute both fighters. Great fight. This Maidana has tremendous power in his hands. He looks like he can be something. He needs to probably develop a little bit of boxing skills himself, or he's going to run into somebody that's going to outbox him. But the power in those hands, man, when you have that kind of power in your hands, you can put a stop to any fighter at any moment. And this gentleman did. Great night of fights and great boxers. So that's it for now, guys. Appreciate everybody watching. And for now, this is the Left Hook Boxing Show, and I'm out.